Welcome to Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. The Chapel of Our Lady of Graces of the Miraculous Medal, Paris, France. Introduction. The Chapel of Our Lady of Graces of the Miraculous Medal, or more simply Chapel of Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal, in 140 Rue du Bac, Paris, France, is the chapel where the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to Catherine Labouré in 1830 and requested the creation of the medal that came to be known as the Miraculous Medal. The chapel was part of the mother house of the religious congregation of the Daughters of Charity of Saint Vincent de Paul. Catherine Labouré was a seminary sister novice there when she witnessed the Marian Apparitions. The chapel is more commonly referred to by its address, 140 Rue du Bac, or even simply the street on which it is located, Rue du Bac, Paris. The Chapel of Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal is an important place of prayer and pilgrimage that draws believers from all over the world who wish to prayerfully reflect and ask the Virgin Mary's protection. The Miraculous Medal, French, Médaille Miraculeuse, also known as the Medal of Our Lady of Graces, is a devotional medal, the design of which was originated by Saint Catherine Labouré following her apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Rue du Bac, Paris, France. It was made by goldsmith Adrien Vaquet. According to the teaching of the Catholic Church, the use of sacramentals such as this medal prepares people to receive grace and disposes them to cooperate with it. Our Lady of Graces, Italian, Madonna del Grazie or Nostra Signora del Grazie, or Saint Mary of Graces, Italian, Santa Maria del Grazie, is a devotion to the Virgin Mary in the Roman Catholic Church. Several churches with this dedication often owe their foundation to thankfulness for graces received from the Virgin Mary, and are particularly numerous in Italy, India, Australia, United States, Portugal, France and the Italian-speaking region of Switzerland. Also, it is related to the Marian Apparitions in which was revealed the Miraculous Medal, also known as the Medal of Our Lady of Graces. History. In 1813 the construction of a chapel began in the Hôtel de Châtillon. On August 6, 1815 the solemn benediction of the chapel was dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Pope Leo XIII granted the venerated Marian image a decree of pontifical coronation on 2 March 1897 via the Archbishop of Paris, Cardinal François-Marie Benjamin Richard. The image was then crowned on 26 July 1897. Catherine Labouré stated that on 18 July 1830, the eve of the feast of Saint Vincent de Paul, she woke up after hearing the voice of a child calling her to the chapel, where she heard the Virgin Mary say to her, "God wishes to charge you with a mission. You will be contradicted, but do not fear, you will have the grace to do what is necessary. Tell your spiritual director all that passes within you. Times are evil in France and in the world." On 27 November 1830 Catherine reported that the Blessed Mother returned during evening meditations. She displayed herself inside an oval frame, standing upon a globe. She wore many rings set with gems that shone rays of light over the globe. Around the margin of the frame appeared the words "O Marie, conçue sans péché, prise pour nous qui avons recours à vous, O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee." As Catherine watched, the frame seemed to rotate, showing a circle of 12 stars, a large letter M surmounted by a cross, and the stylized Sacred Heart of Jesus crowned with thorns, and Immaculate Heart of Mary pierced with a sword. Asked why some of the gems did not shed light, Mary reportedly replied, "Those are the graces for which people forget to ask." Sister Catherine then heard the Virgin Mary ask her to take these images to her father confessor, telling him that they should be put on medallions, and saying all who wear them will receive great graces. Sister Catherine did so, and after 2 years of investigation and observation of Catherine's ordinary daily behavior, the priest took the information to his archbishop without revealing Catherine's identity. The request was approved and medallions were designed and produced through goldsmith Adrien Vaquet. Our Lady of Graces of the Miraculous Medal, Paris, in which Saint Catherine experienced her visions, is located at the Mother House of the Daughters of Charity in Rue du Bac, Paris. The incorrupt bodies of Saint Catherine Labouré and Saint Louise de Marillac, a co-founder of the Congregation of the Daughters of Charity of Saint Vincent de Paul, are interred in the chapel, which continues to receive daily visits from Catholic pilgrims today. Pope John Paul II used a slight variation of the reverse image as his coat of arms, the Marian cross, a plain cross with an M underneath the right-hand bar, which signified the Blessed Virgin at the foot of the cross when Jesus was being crucified. Apparitions. The chapel at Rue du Bac Our Lady of Graces of the Miraculous Medal, Paris, is the site of a number of apparitions said to have been experienced by Labouré. It was here on 3 successive days, while praying, that Vincent de Paul showed her his heart, each time in a different color. His heart appeared white, the color of peace. Then red, the color of fire, and then black, an indication of the misfortunes that would befall France and Paris specifically. Shortly after, Labouré saw Christ present in the Sacred Host, and on 6 June 1830, the Feast of the Holy Trinity, Christ appeared as a crucified king, stripped of all his adornments. In 1830 Labouré, then 24 years old, received 3 visits from the Blessed Virgin Mary. On the first visit, the night of 18th of July, she received a request that a confraternity of the Children of Mary be established. Later Mary requested the creation of a medal with the following invocation: O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee. From May 1832 onwards the medal, which was extraordinarily disseminated and is said to convert, protect, and perform miracles, was called miraculous by the faithful. In 1849 the chapel was expanded and thereafter other modifications were executed. Since 1930, the date of its complete renovation, the chapel is as it is known today. Pilgrimage. The chapel, as a site of Marian apparition, is a Marian shrine and hence a site of Catholic pilgrimage. The wax effigy containing the bones of Louise de Marillac and the heart of Vincent de Paul, founders of the Daughters of Charity of Saint Vincent de Paul, are kept there. The incorrupt body of Catherine Labouré, member of the Daughters of Charity of Saint Vincent de Paul and famous Marian visionary, also lies in a glass coffin at the side altar of the chapel. Properties of the medal. Front side. Mary stands on the earth, crushing a serpent beneath her feet. Describing the original vision, Catherine said the Blessed Mother appeared radiant as a sunrise, in all her perfect beauty. Rays shine forth from Mary's hands. She told Catherine these symbolize the graces I shed upon those who ask for them. Words from the vision, originally in French, form an oval frame around the image: O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee. Reverse side. A cross and bar surmount a large, bold M. 12 stars mark the perimeter. 2 hearts are depicted underneath the M, the left lapped with a crown of thorns, the right skewed by a sword. From each, a flame emanates from the top. Our Lady of Grace. Our Lady of Grace is a title of Mary. The feast day associated with this title is February 7th. The title of Our Lady of Grace is venerated in many countries throughout the world under various aspects. Many parishes, churches, and schools bear this name. A major shrine in pre-Reformation England was that of Our Lady of Grace at Ipswich, also known as Our Lady of Ipswich. Its first recorded mention is in 1152. In 1297, the marriage of Elizabeth of Rhuddlan, youngest daughter of King Edward I and Eleanor of Castile, took place at the shrine of Our Lady of Grace. During the Middle Ages, the Marian shrine of Our Lady of Grace was a famous pilgrimage destination, and attracted many pilgrims including Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Only Walsingham attracted more pilgrims. At the Reformation, the statue was taken away to London to be burned in 1538, though some claim that it survived and is preserved at Nettuno, Italy. Whether it was brought there by Catholic sailors, according to local legend, or simply sold by associates of Thomas Cromwell, the Nettuno statue appears to bear an English provenance. The High Altar. On February 7, 1850, the Minister of the Interior said he granted various blocks of marble for the construction of 2 altars in the chapel. One of the marble blocks was used to build the current high altar. This one is majestic, enhanced with gilded carvings and encrusted with medallions containing relics. The tabernacle, massive, also comes from the Rue du Vieux Colombier, where it was in the Chapel of the Sisters of Mercy, well before the Revolution, which allows us to date its origin from the 17th or 18th century. These nuns were happy later to learn that their beautiful tabernacle was in the possession of the Daughters of Charity. It looks a bit like a Greek temple, with its pediment decorated with an angel carrying a cross. On the finely carved door is represented a nativity, surmounted by a shining star. The perimeter of what constitutes the dome is decorated with basins, while marble columns surround the door. On each side of the altar, we can see 2 light-bearing angels and, on the tabernacle, a very beautiful ivory crucifix, remarkably worked. The statue of the Virgin of the Rays, a temporary plaster statue, had been placed on the high altar. Today, it is the marble statue that dominates the entire chapel, carved from the block of marble offered to the community by the government. The pose of the statue was done solemnly in 1856. In 1914, 2 seraphim were placed below, surrounded by a cloud which they supported by their shoulders. Virgin on the globe. The Virgin holds the world in her hands and offers it to divine mercy. Sister Catherine, at the request of the Virgin, strongly insisted that a statue be made representing the Virgin holding a globe in her hands, and designated the place where she should be placed, apparition above the painting Saint Joseph. In 1841, Mr. Allotto tried, without success, to obtain the agreement of Rome to erect this representation. In 1876, Sister Dufs resumed the project according to the indications received. The Virgin had a dress and a white veil falling to the feet, a headband trimmed with lace, the feet on a half globe, and under the feet a snake greenish with yellow spots, but above all, she held in her hands a golden globe surmounted by a small cross which she offers. Sister Dufs asked the Frock Robert workshops to make it. But Sister Catherine was not satisfied with the work of the sculptor. With the permission of the superiors, Sister Dufs placed this statue in her study in Rieuilly. It was only after the death of Sister Catherine, in 1880, that Monsieur Fiat, Superior General, had a statue made to be placed in the chapel, on an altar established at the place where Catherine had requested it. This statue remained in the chapel until 1930. Too small in size, it was replaced by a Carrara marble statue executed by Real del Sarte. The Crown. On February 11, 1896, Father Fiat, Superior General of the Congregation of the Mission and of the Daughters of Charity, sent a petition to Pope Leo XIII asking for authorization to crown the statue of the Immaculate Virgin. On March 2, 1897, the Pope addressed a brief to Cardinal Richard, Archbishop of Paris. "Nothing is more pleasing to us," remarked the Pope, "than to glorify, by new honors, the Immaculate Virgin, Mother of God." Cardinal Richard gladly accepted the mission entrusted to him by the Holy Father, and the solemnity was fixed for July 26, 1897. The crown consists of 3 elements. The headband expresses the human kingdom and its relationship with the Blessed Virgin. The flowers symbolize the Marian virtues. 9 small medallions represent the apparitions to Saint Catherine, the Medal, Saint Vincent, and Saint Louise, the conversion of Alphonse Ratisbonne, the seal of the company. The stars represent the 9 choirs of angels. The lilies at the top of the crown represent the Virgin. The screw fixing the crown on the head of the Virgin represents the arms of Pope Leo XIII in order to show that it was Jesus Christ who, himself, wanted to place this diadem on the forehead of his beloved mother. Altar and statue of Saint Vincent. The altar, which came in 1815 from the Rue du Vieux Colombier, served as the high altar until 1856 when, during the work to enlarge the chapel, it seemed too small. Altar of the Apparitions. It was preserved and placed in the aisle of the chapel on the right. This aisle was dedicated to Saint Vincent. On April 27, 1930, Cardinal Verdier came to bless the statue of Saint Vincent made by Maison Raff. In 1934, above the altar of Saint Vincent, Sister Destiu had a mosaic made by Maison Mormjan with this inscription on a bronze ribbon. It is at the foot of this altar, then the main altar of the chapel, that the 1830 apparitions to Blessed Catherine Labouré took place. On February 15, 1947, Mother Blanchot placed the relic of the heart of Saint Vincent on the altar. The relic left for Turin during the Revolution. Relics of Saint Louise. As soon as Saint Louise died, M. de Lestock, parish priest of Saint Laurent, begged M. Vincent to allow him to bury his parishioner inside his church. Mr. Vincent is bedridden but agrees. The burial takes place on March 17, 1660. In 1676, Mr. Gobelin, new parish priest of Saint Laurent, wrote, "There comes a sweet smell of violets and irises when we go to pray near the Chapelle de la Visitation, today the chapel of Saint François de Sales." On April 10, 1680, the body was exhumed. The remains of Saint Louise are transferred to the Mother House, Rue du Faubourg Saint-Denis, Paris Saint Laurent. They remained there despite the Revolution and the departure of the sisters. In 1801 the government ceded to the community the former establishment of the Orphans of the Mother of God, Rue du Vieux Colombier. The remains of Saint Louise will not be transferred there until 1809. On July 20, 1815, they will be transferred again, without solemnity, from Rue du Vieux Colombier to Rue du Bac. In the central aisle of the chapel, there is a plaque with the inscription, "Here rested the precious body of Blessed Louise de Marillac, co-founder of the Company of the Daughters of Charity 1824–1920. The relics of Saint Louise are since 1920 on one of the side altars, on the right, in a shrine. Altar of Saint Catherine. In 1880, on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the apparitions, an altar was erected and placed on the very spot where the Virgin had appeared, in gratitude for her innumerable benefits. The religious week of the time describes the beauty of this altar. The front of the altar is in magnificent onyx cut with small lapis lazuli columns, set in gilded bronze. In the middle panel, an oval circle recalls the reverse of the medal. In the right and left panels, gilt bronze lilies Saint Catherine relish. In 1933 Sister Catherine returned to the house. Like all saints, for lack of space, she cannot rest on the altar. It will therefore rest under this altar, but here again, the space is cramped and adjustments had to be made. Of the 4 pilasters, 2 were made to frame the reliquary. The massive part of marble on which the reverse of the medal stood was moved back to form the bottom of the shrine. The short altar table has been replaced. Using a photo of the servant of God, the artist who modeled the wax mask managed to give the face as perfect a likeness as possible. The armchair. When Saint Catherine died, the chair occupied by the director in 1830 had not been in the chapel for 25 years. It had been removed and placed in the sacristy to make room for stalls. It was not until 1880, on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the apparition, that the armchair was brought back to the chapel. It seems certain that it was on this armchair that the Blessed Virgin sat. In addition, Sister Doofs wrote to Father Fiat in 1876, "You ask me what Sister Catherine communicated to me about the seat occupied by the Blessed Virgin, at the time of the apparition, at midnight, in the chapel. These are the words she used in telling me the vision. I saw a great lady coming down from the tribune. She came and prostrated herself before the tabernacle and sat down in the chair of the Father Director." The organ. The repairs to the chapel in 1849 had greatly reduced the gallery for the elderly sisters where the organ was located, and there was hardly any room left for them. In order not to deprive them of the view of the chapel, an attempt was made to install the organ elsewhere, and no more suitable place was found than behind the high altar, believing that it would not spoil the sanctuary and that, even, he would do ornament. But he was no sooner placed there than it was recognized that it was a real embarrassment. Every effort was made to conceal it. Then came the idea of placing above the altar a statue of the Blessed Virgin. In 1891, the bell gallery was modified to install the organ there and thus remove it from the choir. Two estimates dated October 9, 1873 bear the mark Aristide Cavalla Cole of the manufacture d'Orgue d'Église. Feast Day, 7th February. The annual feast day of Our Lady of Grace is held of 7th February. Mass time. Mondays, 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m. Tuesdays, 8 a.m., 10:30 a.m. Wednesdays, 8 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Thursdays, 8 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Fridays, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m. Saturdays, 8 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 5:15 p.m. Sundays, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m. Church visiting time. Every day, 7:45 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Contact info. Address: The Chapel of Our Lady of Graces of the Miraculous Medal, 140 Rue du Bac, 75340 Paris Cedex 07, Paris, France. Website: www.chapelle-notre-dame-de-la-Médaille-miraculeuse.com. How to reach the shrine? Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport or Roissy Airport in Paris, France is the nearby airport to the chapel. Rue du Bac subway station in Rue du Bac, Paris, France is the nearby train station to the chapel. If you wish to know more about Catholic shrine basilicas, Marian shrines and Marian apparitions, subscribe to our Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. Like and share with your loved ones. For more churches website www.catholicshrinebasilica.com.